Hi, and welcome everyone to And Whose Fault Is That? I'm Phil.
And I'm Nixie.
This is episode 12 of season 2. Today's episode, Holiday Experiments. Hi, Nixie.
Yes.
How are you?
Hi. I'm not removing that because it was a good intro still, We're going to keep that.
Yeah.
Pretty excited to catch you up on what's going on my side of the pond. I'm excited to know about, what's going on with you. We do have some fun topics of conversation today. Holiday Experiments is the name of the episode, and that's kind of like tied in with a show and tell kind of thing, I have an update on my TPMS, and I cursed myself in our last episode. I will touch topics with that too. I want to know what it is that you've been watching, and we'll exchange that fun information. And I have a fun story that occurred to me / I learned more details about last week. It's kind of an anniversary of a story. And yeah, so I kind of want to pick your brain about, how
fun.
you've been doing and stuff. And so,
Yeah, we've been good. So maybe I think you've known about this, but we haven't really talked about it on the show. But so Heather and I have been talking about like moving in together for a while. And so during December, we actually pulled the trigger on it and found a house, fell in love with it, and got it. And so,
indeed. Congratulations again, officially for the record.
On the record.
For the record, on the record. Yes.
Yeah. So we've been for the last like 3-4 weeks, we've been tidying up and prepping. Like I will be renting my home, and she will be putting hers up on the market later. And so we've been like doing all the things to tidy up the house and get it ready for February-ish when things, But yeah, so we are, so we get into the house about the second week of January, and then so it's a lot of boxes and packing, and behind me where I used to have pictures and stuff, it's just blankness to appease my realtor with her. This house needs to be as impersonal as possible.
Like a reverse sacrifice, yes.
Yes, so sacrifice. So all the pictures came down, all the things have been spackled. So that's been that. And then since our last recording, we have both also been through the holidays. So, all the food, all the presents, all the things, all the trees. Do you put up a Christmas tree?
I haven't in a few years. I think it's because I shifted focus on Jake's birthday. Jake is born on the 25th. And so his entire life, he's had to share his birthday with the holiday. And that usually comes with people that are like, Merry Christmas. And then somebody like, yeah, and happy birthday to Jake. And they'd be like, oh, it's Jake's birthday. And then they'd go and run and scribble and happy birthday into the card kind of thing. So I started to just shift focus on the holiday and just make it just about his birthday.
So there's just a birthday tree?
Well, no, but
Have you thought about that? You could just do a birthday tree.
I think I moved so many times that tradition kind of fell through the cracks, because I had kind of like a very dark gothic looking type of tree with a little tiny little demon as a topper. It's gone now, but yeah. So that a tradition is dormant, but maybe I'll bring it back for next year. Did you get anything special?
Well, Heather and I decided that in lieu of everything else we've done, we got each other a house this year.
Boring.
But my child, boring. But my child gifted me this lovely little Funko Ron Swanson.
Very nice, very nice.
So
he knows more than you.
What else she got me? She got me a couple other things tonight, and they are completely escaping me right now. But
it's squirrel brain, man. When we have too much going on, can't remember anything from 2 days ago.
It is complete squirrel brain.
And of course,
I got a lot of thoughtful things.
Of course, I'm just kidding. I'm not saying boring. I think that's really cool. Like the ultimate gift. Let's just buy each other a house. Yeah, no problem. So because of this whole forfeiting of the traditional thing, I think many people by now know that I'm atheist, or if they want to label me agnostic, whatever the hell the case is. It also made sense to me to not celebrate a tradition that is tied directly to a religion.
Yeah, you're like,
so
let me put up this pagan tree, and it'll be great. Yeah.
So I'll find a different way to celebrate a tradition going forward. But I asked him, don't get me anything. I don't want anything, please. It's about you. It's your birthday. It sucks because you always have to, you've always had to share it.
Yeah.
But that's not what he did. So for like a year and a half, I've been trying to convince myself not to purchase a thing. And instead he went to go purchase it for Christmas, or for Festivus, rather. And I finally have my hands on my DeLonghi coffee machine.
DeLonghi coffee.
Yes. Straight
When we
from
say
Italy.
coffee machine, are we talking like the espresso machine, the big
Espresso
machine
with the
with the
doser
steam
and the
dude and
grinder and the steam. Yes, exactly.
Oh, very nice.
Yes, very nice. When I first saw it, it was like $1,300. Then it went down to $800. Then it went down to something else, I don't know. But he bought it, and he assured me he bought it on the blackest of Fridays. Oh no, he said the darkest of Fridays.
The darkest of Fridays.
The darkest
so
of
is
Fridays.
This the are we is it like electronic and like with the pushy buttons, or is this more of the manual kind of? I don't know how they are.
Well, you have to manually dose, but it's got pushy buttons, and it's beautiful, and it works exactly as designed, and
very nice.
The last time I had one, it was just one that was about a couple $100, and it lasted me perfectly fine for a few years, but then it took a crap in Michigan, and I never replaced it since. And so rather than replace it with something that's equally of the same quality, I just said I'll just keep putting money aside until I get the one that I actually want, which now I don't have to do. But he got spoiled, I'd say. I would say he got spoiled. I gifted him with quite a few things that he was very happy about. But speaking of random things that showed up out of nowhere, dangerous experiments for after dinner.
Yes.
Yes, it's quite a winner. Turn your dining room into a showroom. Are you bored of hearing the same old dinner party chit-chat time and time again? Dangerous experiments for after dinner will provide you with all the postprandial excitement you need.
I'm sorry, the post what now?
I was just going to say, I have never been more excited to read a synopsis for a book, because I am the only person I know that says postprandial, because I say postprandial somnolence, which is basically food coma, right? So I read postprandial and I got really excited, and I was like, oh my God, I'm such a loser. But yes, it's a word. Postprandial. After dinner, after your meal.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yes.
Well, there we go.
Yes.
TIL. Today I learned.
Today you learned. Yes. So postprandial somnolence is a coma, food coma.
Oh, that is fantastic. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So that was I saw that I don't know, sometime over the summer when we were in Cape May at a gift shop, and I sent you a picture and you squealed, and
I forgot.
And you forgot about it, but I didn't, because I put it on my shopping cart. Was like, I'll pick this up and make this podcast content.
Sweet, sweet friend. So there's a couple of things in here that I recognize in terms of really this book is fun things you can learn to show off in front of guests, mixed with a party game vibe, mixed with, I saw that somewhere. Can you actually do that? So you have things ranging from the ripping the tablecloth out from under a slew of things, glasses and plates, and making sure nothing falls off. Sole objective, which is a pun for how to open a wine bottle when you're.
I love how it's got skulls. 2 out of 5 skulls.
Yeah, when your host has no corkscrew or anything to remove the corkscrew. So yes, there's difficulty ratings. There's
What's probably the one? Okay, is there one? I want to know if there's one that is most likely to land you in the ER if it goes wrong.
I think that's a tie, and here's why. There is I'm gonna point out the 3 of them, because there's a lot in here and we don't want to cover this for too long. Yeah. But I would say there are ones that you've seen before, like the equilibrium of a toothpick. I'm sure you know what this is. It's the one where you're supposed to balance.
Balance 2 forks on a toothpick. 2
forks on a toothpick. And I've seen that over the course of my life a couple times, people trying to attempt that. And it's a solid 3 out of 5 difficulty. I understand. It could be a pain in the ass. But with what you're saying, ambulance or hospital adjacent, I'm going to tie the sommelier and the sabre to the La Table Vivante. Why they're both French, I don't know, but there's a deep hatred somewhere over here. These are, one's 4 skulls and the other one's 5. The Sommelier and the Saber, level 5 difficulty. And I don't know if that's because nobody actually owns a saber, but it's the one where you're supposed to
knock the glass top of the yes.
Cut the bottle, right? So
yeah,
I
basically cut the bottle and hope to God you don't
yes
miss or
exactly
or end up with glass in the bottom of the champagne bottle.
And what I found interesting about this was that, you know how sometimes you do workout videos and there's the easier version for those that just can't keep up. You know, there's the dumbed down
the modified version.
The modified, thank you, that's the word I was looking for. The modified version in here would be, and I quote, "While a spatula lacks the romance of a sword, it would be more effective. A saber has only one sharp edge, and that edge is redundant." So, I thought.
I love that. That's.
Yes.
God,
yes.
that could go on. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that for the ladies and gentlemen? Because I want that on a T-shirt.
Yes.
Spatula, what now?
While a spatula lacks the romance of a sword, it would be more effective.
Spatula lacks the romance.
The romance of a sword. Yes. So
that
I
is
think,
fantastic. I love that.
And the tie is La Table Vivante, 4 out of 5 difficulty, and it is acrobatics involving cutlery. Don't tell me how on earth anybody, and the reason I chose this one out of your question is because nobody my age is going to be able to bend like that without having to go to a chiropractor.
I was going to say, I
do
not have the leg strength to keep, because it is the one where you're basically, it's 4 people, right, in the image, where you lay,
yes.
So let's say if we start with me, I'm putting my head on the knees of the person behind me, who's
yes.
putting their knees on the person behind them, and round, and then someone's putting their head on my knees in the square configuration. And again, do not have the leg strength to, not kill myself.
Yes, and to summarize this one, because obviously each of them have quite, the description, but I'll just say, dinner party levitation is one route with unlikely results, depending on the power of concentration. However, substitute corporeal flexibility for magical thinking, and you have a living table. So, yeah.
That's fantastic. I love how in the picture everyone is holding a glass of wine on their chest.
Yeah, obviously you got to be shit-faced to do that.
Yeah.
You also have to balance.
You're not getting up with that. Yeah, you're not getting up with those.
Yeah, I think these are just absolutely great. I totally forgot. So thank you for reminding me that this was something that I already squeed over. I totally spaced over it, and I'm glad. It is definitely good conversation.
I'm curious if you ever will take any of those out during any dinner party with friends. Be like, so I have a plan.
Yes. How flexible are your knees today?
Yeah.
Yes.
Who didn't skip leg day today?
Have you seen my saber?
Next year's Festivus gift, I'm going to send you a saber.
Fantastic. I think that would be great.
You know what? I'm pretty sure and again, I don't go looking for them, but I'm willing to bet that the next time I go into an antique store, there's probably a greater than 0% chance somewhere in the umbrella stand. Usually it's an umbrella stand with canes and umbrellas and things, like old ones. I'm willing to bet there's probably a saber in one of them. So
I
keep an eye out for a saber.
I did end up asking you for a favor, and that was to secure a lovely door knocker, which I have not opened.
Oh, but it has arrived. Oh, yes.
Yes, it has arrived. I have not opened it. I was going to open it with you here. Shouldn't be too loud, I guess. This was...
Is that a kitchen knife or you?
It's a kitchen knife.
A kitchen knife.
Okay. Yes. I don't have many things here because I only brought half of the stuff that I needed from the other house.
Left your saber back at the other house.
My saber. So sorry.
Now that is a package opening implement.
Embarrassing. So when I asked you to procure this, I was pretty excited, and I appreciate you doing so. Because as soon as I saw it, I was like, haha. Also,
when
I really
saw it. Go ahead.
I said I really appreciate the Gentilissima Signorina Gamieri. I like it very much.
Yes.
It's always a pleasure seeing that. Yes. When you saw it.
When I saw it, there is a store in this vicinity called Knobs and Knockers, which phrasing, but the
It
knobs and
really
knockers
is.
people.
It really is called Knobs and Knockers.
Yep, knobs and knockers. So they have probably the most splendiferous variety of door hardware. Like if you're building a 10-foot tall entryway door and you need a set of like giant hinges or a doorknob with the appropriate impact, or a knocker with the appropriate impact. This is the store. I mean, the gate latches and stuff. I mean, it's all beautifully crafted and big, heavy stuff, and all the way down to, like, hey, would you like to outfit your kitchen in brand new knobs? Yeah, we have that. But they have this wall of knockers, and it's everything from you've got dragonflies and frogs and things, and then you've got the one that I sent you. So I'll let you go ahead and explain what I got you.
Getting there. It is very much lines up with my aesthetic, and that's fine. And that's why I liked it so much. I'm actually even happier that it's not as large as I thought, because for some reason it just seemed really large.
Did you think it was human sized?
Listen, I have a replica of a human skull just for
I know you do.
But
Would you like that on your front door?
No.
No? I mean,
Ta-da!
Yeah, oh my god, I forgot how big that thing was.
Knock,
so
knock,
it is basically
knock.
the front quarter of a human skull with a jaw that moves.
Ah.
It is all cast aluminum and it is very shiny.
Yes, I just tasted
Yeah.
it. It's delicious. Oh, buddy guy, sorry to scare you. Okay, yeah.
But it
No,
was
it's
not. I mean,
beautiful,
when
thank you.
we were there's
I'm
so
glad
many
you-
knockers on that wall that are so costly. And when I was
didn't.
looking it up, you were like, "Wait, how much is that?" And I took a picture because I was like, "I didn't even look. I just thought,
Yeah.
hey, she'd be find that funny." So I sent you like a 10-second clip of me opening its mouth.
Oh no,
Um,
I did not find it funny. I was enamored. I was like, how much is
Yeah.
it? Because I was sitting with Jake and I was like, oh my god, is that what I think it is? And then you were like, oh, it's actually not that expensive. I shall sell you immediately, please.
I know Heather's like, "I'm sorry, what's happening?" And mind you, we walked in there 10 minutes before closing. So this was kind of an impromptu thing. We were kind of wandering the area. There's this like little shopping village nearby here. Not nearby. It's like a half hour away, but and they do like a whole holiday. Actually, they do periodic like themes. And so holidays they had lights. It's in the holidays it's usually packed to the gills. Their overflow parking has overflow parking. And it was snowing here and it was late. We had spent the entire day doing house stuff. And I was like, we knew that they closed at 9, and around 7 o'clock, Heather was like, "Hey, why don't we go down there? It should be empty. It's snowing. No one will be there." And I'm like, you know what? That's like a great idea. So we rolled down there. Truly, completely empty. There's still people and wandering around, but most of them had gone. It was gently snowing. We had the appropriate attire. And so we wandered around and we walked into Knobs and Knockers with like 10 minutes to go. And did our usual pass through, poked at some stuff. And then you and I had that exchange. And then so there's like this poor kid and he's like trying to ring up the last person. I'm like, Monsieur,
Oh no.
skull, please. So,
Yeah.
so I sent him to the back and to fetch the skull.
Yes, with the quickness, because I was like,
Yeah.
and
I was like,
I was
"You wanna go
trying to get you to understand the urgency in which I so desperately wanted this item before you left the store, because sometimes it does
Yeah.
happen where you are in a location that the reception is shoddy, so you'll send me something
Yeah.
and then I'll just get a slew of messages like back to back within like a
Oh, yeah.
minute, and then I'll be like, oh, he must have been somewhere, and then which
Yeah.
but this time though, the
Yep.
reception was beautiful, and we knock knock. So yeah, it worked out.
Perfect.
Yeah, it worked out great. So thank you
Yeah, you
for
were most
sending
welcome.
that. I wanted to give you a little update
Mm-hmm.
on a little thing called TPMS.
Yes. How is your TPMS?
Well, for the sake of not being too repetitive, had to reset the TPMS sensor because there was a tire change after a little bit of an accident. And that never happened because when I went to power up the TPMS, I realized, oh, I need a battery. I need a 9-volt. I don't have a 9-volt. Let me just order a 9-volt. Let me order like from Amazon, right?
Yeah.
I didn't pay attention, and I, for some reason, thought it was double A's. I don't freaking know. Anyway, so a friend of mine who's here goes, I have at home. I'll just bring it to you tomorrow or something. I was like, okay, cool. So I waited an extra day. She comes over. We all eat dinner together. It was kind of like a pre-birthday thing for Jake. I made, what the hell did I make? I made chicken cutlets, which I haven't made in like a forever time because I'm weird with chicken lately. And I made a leek and potato soup with some peas with bacon. It was delightful. I don't know why I just went into what we ate. But then everybody left. I took the 9-volt battery, opened the back case to put the battery in. Both soldering components gone. I didn't even touch it. Like, if I would have breathed too hard on it, the fucking connector would have fell off. So it is already on its way back to Amazon.
Disappoint. Yeah. So no TPMS for you.
No, I think it's gonna be the disconnecting of the negative on the battery for 15 minutes, and I'm just gonna bypass the whole thing. Period. Would you see a problem with that? No, it shouldn't cause any issues, right?
No.
Yeah, I think I'll just do that.
Yeah.
But I know that when we were going over topics to cover for this episode, you noticed that I wrote cursed with floating bag.
Yes.
Self-jinxed. Do you remember what the floating bag is in reference to?
No.
Okay. I think I said something along the lines of American Beauty in the last episode.
Oh, yes. The most beautiful bag floating. Yes. Okay.
Yes. Well, literally the next day, the day after we recorded that, I had a floating bag. And it was the bag that flew out of my pocket while I was taking the dog for a W. And I proceeded to, right after I picked up the mail, because you want to have more things in your hands when this thing happens, throw out my back. And I'm stuck at a 90-degree angle the entire way home, okay?
Oh, boy.
I only started to feel better today. It's been 5 days of just, I can't move, ow, shots of pain. I think I pinched a nerve.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really, really bad back pain. And the one thing that has saved me is my 10-7000. That's what saved me.
I'm sorry, your 10-7000.
My 10-7000.
Oh, tens, plural. T-E-N-S. Okay.
T-E-N-S. Yes, 10s,
7,000. Okay.
Yes. I have my electrodes stuck to my back here, my little pads, and I turn it on for 15 minutes at a time, or 20 minutes, depending on if I'm feeling frisky. Bump this baby up to 3.5.
Bump this baby to taser.
Yeah, no. Okay, so I can only tolerate up to 4, because then I think if I go to like, I can't go higher. It's staying at 4.
Okay, well that was a genuine, like now. Somebody just stabbed me. So it does the zappy tense your muscles.
Yes.
And relax, tense and relax.
And I've been doing that for multiple days, on and off.
7,000, huh? Is this a Amazon
my chiropractor
purchase?
Suggested that I purchase it a few weeks ago.
A medical professional.
Yes, she suggested that I purchase it a few weeks ago, and I never had gotten around to it because I was going through the list of things that she suggested I purchase.
7,000.
Yes.
I love how it looks like a little mini radio.
It does. It does. And it's like the $40 one if you're looking at it. It's a 10-7000.
Yeah, 10-7000 rechargeable TENS unit muscle simulator, back pain relief, 4 electrode unit pads, period pain stimulator.
Yes, the DT7202.
Wait, oh no, not stimulator. Period pain simulator. For me?
Oh, okay. Well, people use these things to like show, they do a lot of TikTok videos with them where like there'll be videos of men trying to simulate menstrual pain.
Of it on 7.
or no, because a lot of these videos, if you do look them up after we finish recording, a lot of this is the woman putting on the the electrodes and being like, okay, let me know when you're ready. And they'll be like, okay, ready. And it's like on 2 and they're like, stop. But I think biologically it's normal that we can handle a little more.
Yeah.
But I
turn on power, select mode, select setting, increase or decrease. Oh, look at this.
Yes. And she told me, do you want me to set it up for you? Because I'd received it. And, I was like, yeah, when I get it, I'll bring it to the next appointment that we have. And she did. She set it up for me. So now I have it on
300. Oh, wow. So there's a whole like situation.
Yeah,
okay,
120 hertz. I have it on normal. Yeah.
Okay. So there's a whole thing here.
You can have pulse, modulation.
It's not. It's more. It's more. What's the word I'm looking for? It's more complex than a single hammer.
Yes, it is a little more
stabbing
sophisticated.
yourself in the back. This has some sort of logic behind it.
Yes, it's not the equivalent of sticking your tongue into an electrical socket.
9-volt battery. Yeah,
exactly.
Speaking of 9-volt batteries.
Speaking of, yeah.
Rechargeable too, huh? Oh, very nice.
Is it really?
It says it's rechargeable. I mean, unless I'm looking at one that is a different version of yours. It looks just like it.
Super heavy duty 10 cell. It's the battery that it came with, but I have a whole bunch of them.
USB-C type charging. Oh boy.
Really? I don't.
It says. Is there a USB-C port on that one?
Not that I see.
You're like, no.
No, this is battery operated.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, you must be looking at a different one. But no, supply voltage 9 volts.
This is digital. Yeah. Okay, so this uses. I think I found it for 36. Okay, Amazon choice.
But yes, that made me very happy to be able to have this, which I forgot I had, by the way, right? Because originally when I purchased this, I set it aside. I said, I'm not going to set it up. I'm not going to touch anything until the chiropractor unboxes it and sets it up for me, because I don't want to put anything too high or short circuit my brain or some crap like that. And the focus was actually more for Jake because of his muscles in his legs and his shoulder. He has problems and stuff like that. So it was hiding in my drawer. So the first 2 days of being 90 degrees, the first 2 days of being the cute, I forgot I had it. I forgot I had it. But yeah, I'm glad that I remembered I did when I did, because it has been like monumental in my recovery, because I don't think I would have been able to feel as good as quickly, considering one, didn't take a single pill this entire time. And I didn't take any like muscle relaxant. I didn't go to the doctor. I didn't message my primary care. I just knew I screwed up a nerve. I just knew. And I was like, I don't really feel like dealing with going to, and yeah, I'm going to see her next Wednesday, and I will be very vocal about my gratitude for her, because this
okay,
yeah, definitely worth it. I recommend, especially for like sore muscles. And I thought I was going to be a little bit more confused on how to use it, but it's fairly simple. So.
Yeah, that is one. I mean, I know of the existence of these things, but I had never. Yeah, that is a fascinating. That's interesting. Yeah.
And it's funny to me that you read Period Simulator, because I totally skipped over that entirely. Like, until you mentioned it now, I didn't realize, like, holy shit, yeah, it's this thing. So, yeah, for me, it was more like just, my husband and I are, perpetually broken. Let's buy something that will help us, even if it's 15 minutes at a time.
Yeah, because what's it called? The other version of this is the one, I mean, or at least that I was familiar with, is the one where it's just like, it's the muscle stimulator to simulate or stimulate muscles in
like childbirth
exercise.
The abdominal
exercise. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember those. Oh, that was hot like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just stand there and lose weight while you're watching TV. Best infomercials.
Yeah.
For sure.
Speaking of infomercials, are you watching anything interesting lately? Did you give Skeleton Crew a shot or anything yet?
No, I haven't. That was an excellent segue. I actually have just been playing a lot of games, because I, on paper, am out of office.
Do tell.
I'm out of office. Of course, there's a couple messages here and there, but I've been on PTO this week, so I've been just playing games. I've been playing It Takes Two. I don't think I've watched a single episode of NCIS since.
So when you say on paper, like what you're talking like board game type stuff?
No, I said I'm off on paper. I'm technically off, but they always sneak in a few things here and there. So I'm on PTO, but some of them pull a fast one. No, so I've been playing a co-op game, It Takes Two. I've been just throwing myself back into Battlefield Hardline, which has an excellent story. So I kind of guess I have been watching something, and that's the campaign of Battlefield Hardline, which one of the best campaigns, I would say, for a video game, because it's very CSI Miami. Corrupt police force, drugs, this and that. You can't even skip the cutscenes. It's actually really good. It's the reason, like, I wanted to, I think, achievement hunt and try to find a few achievements that I can easily get or revisit old stories. And I was like, you know what? I don't think I've played Battlefield Hardline on the highest difficulty. Let me go through that. And yeah.
Okay, so it's set. Okay, well, because I mean, I'm familiar with the other Battlefield games, and again, they're always very theme specific, right? Whether it's future, past, yeah.
When I say CSI Miami, yeah, it's very, yeah, it's very nice. Very nice story.
Okay, that's very cool. Okay.
Yeah, really. And have you watched anything?
So there is what I put in the notes. So there was a work holiday event where we all went to lunch in the office, and I sat next to my friend Dave, friend of the show Dave, who says
friend
hi.
of the show. Oh, hi,
friend
Dave.
of the show Dave, who
I
will
miss
probably
you
be listening and be
terribly.
like, "That's me."
Yeah.
I got to see the
Shout
meme
out to
from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with Leonardo DiCaprio going, Me. Because I did introduce Dave to our podcast, which I don't know why I hadn't done it sooner. And I was like, oh, yeah, Nixie and I do a podcast. And he's like, I'm sorry, what?
And then,
I was like,
yeah.
Here, Dave. But Dave was telling me about his visions about building a tiki bar in his basement, which is a lovely endeavor. And that somehow, in the back of my internet-addled mind, reminded me of a what year was this? It is a 2005 to 2009 web series called Tiki Bar TV.
Okay, this did not go in any direction I thought it was going.
Yes. So, because it's definitely of the style, because Dave was telling me about like tiki mugs. He had been in Vegas and seen this amazing display at a antique store of just like antique Vegas tiki mugs, right?
Okay.
And I once upon a time, it was a Patreon or one of those, maybe what was not before Patreon, Kickstarter. I can't find it, but I remember buying myself and my friend Jason Cthulhu tiki mugs for Christmas. I don't know where mine is. It's been lost to time. He still has his, and it still sits on his desk from what I remember. I asked him when he was visiting a couple back in October. But like I said, so Dave's telling me about the Tiki Bar made me go, oh my God, Tiki Bar TV, which was just this. It's a lot of the guys, I think one or two of the cast members were from Canada. But I will add a link to this in the show notes. But it's still available on YouTube. But it was a short form like web. I don't know how to explain it. It's just the early video like of the internet. So pre-YouTube. Like when did YouTube come out?
I think.
Does anybody know that?
99, 2001.
When did YouTube start?
That's a great.
2005.
Wow.
So this is like right at the cusp of, because I love it because I asked ChatGPT, I'm like, you know what? I need to be able to explain Tiki Bar TV. And it was like, Tiki Bar TV was a pioneering video web series or vodcast that ran from March 2005 to December 2009, set in a Tiki Bar themed bar.
Right.
Each episode presented a humorous scenario where a problem was resolved by a cocktail prescribed by Dr. Tiki. and prepared by bartender Johnny. And the show also featured Lala, who was just like the female, antagonist or protagonist, whatever. I'm not a writer.
The one with the coconut bra.
Yes and no. Like they never wrote her to be like ditzy and stuff like that, but she comes off ditzy, but then also has like a PhD in electronics and builds a robot like 2 episodes in. Watching this in like the early 2000s, being like, this was a thing on the internet before the children existed. But yeah, Tiki Bar TV, Dr. Tiki, and yeah, I forgot that every episode ended with, oh well, we can solve this. I will prescribe it, because he's got a whole lab coat, and he'd be like, I'll prescribe a cocktail, and then they'd read the ingredients of the cocktail, and then Johnny would prepare it and explain how.
Nothing of this that I recognize.
Yeah, nothing you exist. Yeah,
Nothing.
Again, this is weird early internet stuff. It's yeah.
No,
and it was I guess set in I guess this was created originally in Vancouver. Yeah.
Yeah, this might have been before I started digging into I mean, what yeah, there's definitely no way that I was watching this. I don't even recognize it.
Yeah.
At all.
So, yeah, 45 episodes. Wow, I didn't know that was that many. 45 episodes.
You can get
pioneering video podcast. Apparently, what really pushed them over the edge, and I did not know this, is that during the iPod video launch, so the groundbreaking iPod video launch, they were the video podcast that Apple played on stage during the keynote, like as to show
Oh, well,
off.
that'll do it for them.
So that, like, because they were, yeah. I'm trying to remember what other stuff. There were so many other like early internet things, but that one is definitely scraping the
early
back
barrel.
of the internet cabinet, where you're like, this one show that was really famous for all those kids that hung out on the internet back in the day.
I don't know.
So.
Maybe if I ever see an episode play, but I don't recognize any of them, I'll have to think back and think about a time when I was, wearing really long fingerless gloves and wearing my Jinkos. I don't know.
I know. I was going to say, yeah, because this would have made you, that time period, I was in my 20s. You would have been younger.
Yeah, but I mean, I was still in my 20s, right?
Yeah.
2005, you said?
2005. So you're like 6 years behind me. So
yeah, I would have been 21 or something. Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know that you weren't sure if you were going to be able to bring anything as a fun fact, but that is kind of a wombo combo, honestly, because that's like
you would say that, like, fun fact, early internet thingies, Tiki Bar TV.
Yeah. Well. Oh, hi, little buddy guy. Yes.
Speaking of Canada.
Speaking of Canada, actually, which is a good little segue into, we've recently celebrated 107 years of a very interesting story, which I kind of forgot about, and I remember hearing about this when I was in school, but long time ago, in like 1907 at like 9 a.m. Okay. We're at Halifax Harbor in Nova Scotia. Okay. Very calm day. There are 2 ships that are involved in a collision at a very, very slow speed of like, whatever, a mile an hour, a knot an hour. The point is that they've collided now. And this is due to like a series of miscommunications, and maybe everybody had their eyes closed because it's a goddamn ship. But whatever.
And 1907, you say, huh?
Yeah. So it was the Mont Blanc and the, which makes me laugh and a Norwegian ship called the Emu, or the Emu. Yeah, Emu. And anyway, everybody on the ship, like the sailors and stuff, it's starting to draw attention, and a lot of the crew start evacuating because they know, like, holy crap, this is gonna go, down the wrong
Yeah.
way. Unbeknownst to onlookers that everybody now is just staring at Halifax Harbor, the Mont Blanc is absolutely loaded with ammunitions, like completely loaded with ammunitions.
Okay.
So everybody's staring at this, gawking like, wow, two ships collided. And anyway, at like 9 a.m., we had one of the largest non-nuclear explosions in history. And that was about 107 years ago. About 2,000 people died. It was such a huge explosion that they found the ship's anchor, I think it was the Mont Blanc, like over a mile and a half away or 2 miles away. And everybody was staring at this when it happened, right? A lot of people were staring at it. And a common misconception is that these people they lost their vision and they went blind because of how bright the explosion was. But that is false. They went blind because most people were at their windows and the shattered glass made them blind.
Oh.
Yes. So
yeah,
in reality,
I vaguely remember seeing this on like the History Channel.
yeah, in reality, it was the flying glass that made. Anyway, it's been huge explosion. It's been 107 years that it's happened since, and it showed up somewhere on what I was.
December 6th, 17, 17. 107 years ago.
And recently, I was like, oh wow! I go, why does this sound familiar? Because I heard of
Good Lord.
Yeah. Huge.
1782 confirmed tragedies and 9,000 approximate non-fatal injuries. Good Lord.
Yeah, and it definitely. Yeah, and it pretty much leveled most of Halifax's like north end. But I just it came across my news feed. Can you stop? My dog is acting like he's never ate a day in his life. So big surprise, right, everybody? I know, another feature from Hunter.
Like, feed me.
Yeah, he's like, woe is me, help me now. But yeah, that was my interesting.
That is
fact.
a neat. Yeah, I was gonna say. It's history time with.
It was history time, yes, and not to bring up anything somber, and because it was 107 years since it happened, but it came up on like my feed, and I was reading something else. I can't remember what it was, and I was like, I kind of remember this, and I was like, oh yeah, and then when I looked it up, I thought I was one of the people in that group that believed that it caused blindness in many people because of how bright it was, and that's when I found out by continuing my reading that no, common misconception, it was
9:04 a.m.
9:04 a.m.
I love how they've actually have the exact seconds. Like it's 1917. Most people, I mean, let's say, how many people had watches or clocks?
Many of them had clocks. Yeah, absolutely. But that was my little fun fact, which is not fun fact. It's just a piece of history that came up recently, and I thought I would share. Because
where did it come up? I am curious. How did this? Were you also watching the History Channel?
I was not watching the History Channel. I was reading something about a show that someone was on. And they were mentioning it, and then instead of clicking on the video, I went to the article, and So speaking of things that hurt a lot, let's talk about the opposite. What have you been doing for yourself to be a little kinder to yourself, a little self-love?
Well, in this time of great packing and great sorting, as it were, I have tried to stay just mindful of moderation, because I think, I was going to say, like, it's been an intense, every day, there are no days off. Like, something needs to happen. Either something needs to go in a box, something needs to be touched up and painted, something needs to be disposed of at a trash dump.
You're doing a lot.
In today's adventure, I think I sent you a picture earlier. There's a bridge. So Heather's property has a creek behind it, and behind on the other side of the creek is a golf course with a long winding path around it. And so once upon a time, the previous owner, when she purchased the property many years ago, had installed a bridge made out of some 6x6 uh, posts. They were about 20 feet in length, and then just kind of, walkway boards crossing the two of them. And so the this bridge lasted many years, but then occasionally there is high water in the creek, and on a particularly high water day, this was carried and shoved down further down the property, and it floated and kind of beached itself. But it weighs, well, I can tell you how much it weighs because we dropped it off at the dump today, and they weighed us. It was 1,787 pounds.
Oh my goodness! How did you get it the hell out of there? You just took it apart?
So I took a Sawzall, and then what the picture I had sent you is, so I stood on one end of it because it was kind of teetering over the creek, half of it. So I stood on one end, and then Heather walked the plank out into the open and started cutting it in half with the Sawzall down the middle of the walkways, so that once we got there, I could then get up on the bank and cut chunks of it off that were manageable that we could take and throw into the back of the trailer. And so, yeah, so that was fun. Yeah, so that like I said, that kind of stuff, like we have things to do, but my goodness, like cannot overdo it and cannot just drive yourself into into just ruin by, because again, my back, I have a lot of, try not to lift too much stuff, but yeah.
No, I understand. You're trying to be cognizant of how much you're actually doing, and kind of be like, do I have to do this now? Is this something that I can,
Or just when we are doing it, it's just like, okay, well, take breaks, right? And then I think a big one is also, I try to make sure we stop and eat, because otherwise it's like the last thing you want to do is like blood sugar drops, you're still lifting stuff, you're exhausted and dehydrated and starving, and it makes for a bad combo where then you just crash, right? So we're like, no, we should stop at this. Like yesterday we were shoveling some stone to backfill a patio area, and same deal where I'm like, this is a stopping point. Like once I get all the stone out of here, take a break, let's run up, let's get some dinner, then we can come back, we can finish A, B, and C. So that kind of stuff.
Nice.
How about you?
Well, I haven't been doing too good with adhering to my promise of using my cervical pillow. At least I think it was more of like a slip up / anyway, the point is I've been hunched over and I think in the last 4 or 5 days I've laid on the floor to use the cervical pillow maybe twice, but it's just been too painful. And so while I may not have been able to follow through with what I said I was going to do for myself on a daily basis, I tried to find a middle ground, which is use the TENS unit more frequently than less. And so if I feel like, I wasn't able to lay down or anything, I'll put on the unit so that I feel okay enough to lay down. And then once I'm laying down, I turn off the unit and I use the cervical pillow for 10 minutes. So it's kind of like a middle ground. I just need help getting into that position without freaking the hell out in pain.
Yeah.
So, but that's about it. Kind of like a slip up, but kind of like trying to find a middle ground to help me not slip up anymore. But yeah, that's about it for me.
And how is actually, maybe a brief follow-up, circling back, how are your stitches doing?
Oh,
all dissolved?
Thank you for asking. No, actually, they're
You're
not.
like, no.
No. I would describe this to be, I still have a lot of puffiness, but it helps when I put ice. But I think they're just still swollen because of like you could tell when I do this, that is swelling. It's not like anything else.
Yeah.
But when I touch the edges of my eye or where my lash line is, it feels like, what do you call these things that I just pulled out from under my dog's chin? Burrs?
Yeah, those are burrs. Yeah, I get them. They're like little spiky balls, right?
They stick to
on grasses.
That's kind of like what it feels like. Like I'm passing my finger over not as harsh, but I can feel the stitches still underneath. and I have an appointment January 2nd, and I wonder what she's going to tell me. I wonder if she's going to be like, it's been too long.
You told me this would dissolve.
Well, no, I looked it up because I was a little bit worried. It could take 8 weeks plus, and I got the surgery on the 18th. So until it actually hits the 18th of January, I'm not freaking out for anything. And plus, I get to see her in a few days, so I'm sure she'll be happy with, the fact that it doesn't even look as bad as it did. It's getting there. But yeah, I look forward to the day where I can wash my face. I know you're a big fan of
her walking into the room squealing
and then
with
go,
her.
Yeah, and it's been a couple weeks. Yeah, she lights up. My little angel.
I need my dopamine hit. Get in here and be happy with me.
Yeah, exactly. But overall, I'm happy. Some days I wake up and I'm kind of freaking out because they're more swollen than I expected. But I think she's going to be able to have the answers for me. It's just ignorance, It perpetuates my paranoia. But I'm sure she's going to be able to squash some of those worries. It's not like she's going to be like, oh, you're not healing fast enough. We'll have to reopen you. No.
Yeah. You're like, oh, did I use the wrong stitches? And I'll be like, I'm sorry, what?
I'm sorry, no. Oh, damn, I used the fishing line. God damn it. Yeah. So that's all I got for you today, sir. I do look forward to speaking with you next week. Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm glad we were able to cover what's going on, what has gone on with the holidays in the house. And again, congratulations.
Thank you.
I can't wait to see what new things happen and what stories await.
In the coming weeks, I should have a different backdrop behind me as I move to the new. Actually, depending on when we record next. Yeah.
Yeah,
I will have either the same or another one. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for listening to And Whose Fault Is That? This was episode 12, Holiday Experiments. We are live with a new episode every Thursday at 8 a.m. Eastern. Thank you very much to my co-host, Phil, and we shall see you next time.
Toodles.